All right, I think we're live. Welcome back, everybody, to Strongman Personal Finance. I am your host, Christopher Bell, your investing hero that tells you to invest in VT and tax-advantaged accounts. And I have my famous guest, Jay Nagy. It's that man right there. Go to his channel and subscribe. I know it's hard to click a button. Anyway, welcome, Jay. How's it going?
What's going on, dude?
Just seen a bunch of scam cryptos popping up. What about you?
Yeah. Like I said before we went live, I was in the process of watching the CoffeeZilla episode, and it's like, I don't know, like it's impossible to predict when this whole thing's going to implode, but I don't see how it can go more than another year.
I think it's going to keep going until there's a crackdown, because it's basically just like unsanctioned, illegal, I would say illegal, but it's like unsanctioned, unregulated gambling. And people will gamble. They're always going to gamble because if they have the opportunity to get rich quick, they're going to keep doing it, even if they get burned a bunch.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, you could look at it like that. I don't know. It's just, it seems like usually the end of something speculative begins when celebrities start endorsing it, and then you start getting these save the kids tokens, all this whatever BS that goes along with it. It just seems to me that's usually when the bubbles start to be like, okay, we still taking this serious?
Yeah, I mean, it's completely out of control. And I can't believe the government hasn't done anything. I mean, I guess this is why we always have like economic collapses all the time, because the government, which is supposed to like offset, excesses in the private sector, they always seem to fail to do that. And I think this is another bubble that's going to pop eventually.
Well, I can't convince my buddy, my buddy John. I did a live stream with him. I don't know if you watched any of that.
Yeah, I saw some of it.
But I'm sitting there and I'm going, okay, but like with these crypto mining companies, I'm like, you do realize they're increasing the amount of shares outstanding, and they're diluting you, and they're turning increasingly cash negative. And he's just like, blockchain. And then I go, okay, explain blockchain to me because I don't understand it. So he starts explaining it to me. And then when I would ask specific questions, he goes, well, I'm not really an expert on it. And I'm like, okay, dude, this is the problem that everybody's going through. You can't accept that you don't know anything. If you don't know anything about something, you shouldn't invest in it. Like that's the point of why I went after Biogen or Bionano, whatever it is.
Bionanogenomics.
Yeah, it is why. This is the point of why I went after these stocks is because, and I say in there, I go, I don't understand this and neither do you. And then I get people arguing with me and I'm like, okay, do you have an advanced medical degree? No? All right, cool. Well, I can read, I have the basic accounting knowledge to read certain sections of a company's 10K and tell you that there's two metrics that I'm just out on. When you start diluting me, and when you have negative cash flows, because that's what a company is, So,
yeah, but I mean, there's two sides of the market. There's the growth investors and momentum investors who just jump on the bandwagon of rising stocks, and there's people like us that are actually value investors that look at the fundamentals. So, as long as there's always these stocks that people project are just going to attract fund flows, people are always going to buy into them regardless of the financials because they're not investing. They're just speculating that other people will buy in after them and, rapidly elevate the stock price.
I've talked two people into selling their cannabis stocks and putting their money into the TSP at work. And they're like, well, what do I do then? I go, okay, this is what you do. Take the cash. Because the woman told me she had like $5,000 in there. I go, you take that cash out. You let that sit in your bank account. You live off that money and you max your TSP till that money is gone. But I was talking to another dude at work and we started talking about crypto. He goes, yeah, I buy Bitcoin or Ethereum, but they're a little bit expensive right now. And I go, oh, okay. I go, so what would you pay for them? He goes, I don't know. I go, well, Ethereum's trading at $2,900 today. Would you buy it for $1,500? And he goes, nah, I still think that's too expensive. I go, what about 1,000? It's a little bit much. 500? Because yeah, I'd probably buy it at 500. I go, okay, why? And he's like, I go, no, why is it worth $500 to you? And he couldn't answer that question. So I'm sitting there thinking to myself, okay, I hope I'm making an impression on these people at work where I'm saying, you guys are just YOLOing into investments that you don't know what they are. Cryptocurrency is not an investment. I had fun with it. You know, I held it from I had started out with $40 and I sold it at 60. When I had $60, I sold out of Doge. You know, and like I said, if you know that it's speculative, there's nothing wrong with buying baby Doge. If you take $100 and you put it in there and you just understand, okay, I'm just playing the lottery.
Yeah, and then that's why I think most of these cryptos, these new ones, that's how they explode. There's a ton of people putting a small amount of money into it, and that's how the price rapidly increased until it, of course, craps the bed because all those guys that got in are like, oh, I made my $200, you know, and they think that's like massive gains, and that's when they sell out. Like that's the whole basis of technical analysis. I mean, I'm not a technical trader, but people have like prices anchored into their heads. Like talking about your Ethereum example, it's like, oh, like he has that guy you were talking to has a number in his head where I guess somehow he got an imprint of $500, and that's what he fixates on, and that's what he's going to buy. That's the price he's going to pay just because that number's sitting in his head, but he doesn't know why that number's in his head.
Yeah, look, you know, if you understand, to me, it's about just understanding what you're doing. I don't day trade or do any of that swing trading stuff because I don't know what you mean by this candlestick is doing this or the triple inverse pancake ratio.
You don't know what the triple inverse pancake ratio is? You suck, bro.
I know. Don't listen to me. But it's like, you know, on Everything Money, when Mo talks about the trading he does, I go, okay, this dude gets it, man. And if you listen to him, he even said most of his money is not in most of the money that he's not using to do that kind of trading. It's in
it's for fun. It's like even the stocks that they cover on Everything Money, I remember them saying in one episode, it's like, yeah, you need to have 90% of your money or 95 in index funds, and the 5% should be play money because that's sufficient enough to not bankrupt you if you lose it all.
Did they say that? They said index funds?
I think they did. I'm pretty sure it was like index funds or mutual funds or whatever, but you know, that doesn't surprise me because they're pretty intelligent, but they definitely said a huge portion should be indexed and 5-10% is used for play money.
Yeah, I've revised my rules. So for me to buy an individual stock now, I need greater than a 15% return. Or I think I'm going to get a greater than 15% return because I just went and looked at it. I go, okay, if the Vanguard Healthcare Fund that you have in your portfolio has gotten a 15% return since 1984, that's a pretty tough metric to meet. So I shouldn't even be buying something unless I think it'll exceed it. That's another thing that keeps you safe. Like when you're doing your calculations, you know, if you do it the easy and the lazy ghetto way that I do it, which is just increasing their earnings per share, and then use a multiple of 12 for the PE ratio, if you get greater than 15%, might be worth buying the stock.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but I mean that's why I hate financial analysis is because it's so freaking, you know, it's all to me. It's almost like just entirely guesswork. It's like, well, what multiple do I use? What should I use as estimates for growing of cash flow, share buybacks? I don't know. It's all freaking guesswork, which is why I hate it. So yeah, I agree. Like I'm only gonna buy stocks if I see a massive opportunity, which is probably pretty freaking rare. You know, they probably don't come up very often. Like Baba, that's one of the few ones that I was like, okay, wow, this is so freaking cheap. And I know it's cheap because I look at cash flows, ladies and gentlemen. Then I was like, okay, maybe I'll scoop up. I'll put a couple $1,000s into it. But most stocks, yeah, I'm not going to buy most individual stocks.
And I think a run up's going to happen in Baba. I think Baba's going to turn into the next hype stock. And when I look at it, if it's worth more than I think it should be, I'll sell it then too.
Yeah, I actually needed to figure out a price projection. I mean, because you can kind of extrapolate their cash flows, and then I like free cash flow. I extrapolate the cash flow, and then I apply a multiple after 5 years, and then I calculate the return over that time period. And once the price gets above that, I'm going to sell it, especially because I have like about 1,000 in it in the Roth IRA. Even if it shot up tomorrow, I would immediately sell out of it.
Yeah, and I think that's a good long-term business. But I'm going with that Cameron Stewart guy did a really good enterprise value and discounted cash flow on it. And he put it at about, I think he said a little over $1,000 by 2030.
I can see that.
Oh, easily. But my thing is, now that Kathy Woods is buying it, all these idiotic fanboys are probably going to start rushing into it.
Is she thinking about buying Baba?
No, she did. From what I heard. Or
Thank
from
you,
what
Kathy.
I read.
That's one good thing Kathy Wood has done for me.
Oh, also, one good thing she's done for me is when I say she really doesn't know what she's doing and I get called a complete and utter moron, once her crypto ETF implodes, you and I are going to be going, you want to listen to us now?
She's trying to get that quick and easy money because she can just collect that 0.75% fee for people to buy Bitcoin. And I guess the only purpose of buying a Bitcoin ETF is like, I guess, safety. So your money doesn't get stolen. That's the only reason you would, I would imagine. And even as long as Bitcoin's around, and I think it'll crap out and go away. But in the meantime, she's making all those delicious fees, millions and millions a year.
Yep. But I mean, this is why I'm glad companies are making the crypto ETFs now, because it's ultimately gonna lead to the downfall of crypto. And then the average person that didn't want to listen to everybody and told everybody who was warning them about it that they're stupid and that it's just different this time, all of these people are going to learn a massive lesson. They'll fly out of the stock market because they'll call it gambling, and then you and I can just crush our index funds and we'll be buying on the cheap.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people don't realize the opportunity. If we have a flat decade, and a lot of people we don't know if it's true, but a lot of people are projecting, negative returns, like I think we talked about last time. And if you're buying for 10 freaking years in a down market where everybody's scared of stocks, you're going to be so freaking rich in like 15, 20 years. It's going to blow your mind. So I hope the market just takes a dump for decades.
Yeah, dude. Well, that Paul said this morning, not that I need to fanboy out, but it just reiterates the point. You're expected about a 0 to a negative 3% return of the overall index. I don't know where he got that from. I got that for 7% from Market Watch.
Yeah, I mean, you can just, the biggest indicator, I mean, there's so many indicators, retail flooding in, speculative bubbles everywhere. But I mean, I think one of the biggest indicators is you look at you use the Buffett indicator, which compares GDP to stock market cap. That's massively overvalued. And then also the trailing, the CAPE ratio.
Yeah, the CapEx Schiller PE ratio.
Yeah.
Last 10 years, it's at like 37%, which tells me if it returns to the historic 15%, we've got a long way to go to the bottom.
Yeah, I mean, everybody says it's true. It makes sense. Like, there's always like a risk premium when you compare treasuries to stocks. So stocks usually perform like 4 or 5% above treasuries. So as long as interest rates are low, I mean, PE ratios, I think, are going to be higher than normal. But if we ever see an uptick in interest rates, I mean, you're going to need a lot lower PE ratios.
And the thing is, man, this is just like the weirdest time because governments around the world can't service their debt if interest rates rise. So what do they do? If you're the Fed and the economy starts to just massively overheat and you're like, oh, I gotta raise interest rates. Well, homie, we got 30 trillion in debt. So you're paying 300 billion, probably a little bit more, 500 billion in debt right now. What happens when that gets up to $1 trillion or $2 trillion?
Yeah, I mean, what governments need to do if they're smart is issue out a bunch of long-term debt because they can lock in low rates for a crazy amount of time. I don't know if they're doing that, but that would be a way that they could kind of lock in those rates. It'd probably screw the bondholders in the long run, especially if they had to raise interest rates. I mean, the longer out the bond, the more effect the interest rates have. But I mean, that's something they could do if they thought about it.
Yeah, but dude, this is just screwy times, man. I don't know what it's a. You got morons in the government like AOC who's like, I want a $10 trillion Green New Deal program. Okay, but where's the money come from? It's like, and then this is how dumb these people are. I always bring up this point. Well, we have the printing press, so we can just print as much money as possible. Okay, why do I pay taxes then?
It's to help you feel like you're participating in the government, Jay. That's why. I mean, honestly, like if there's inflation, me and you are going to crush it. Anybody else that's mostly invested in assets, but the people that don't have a lot of assets, like poor people, they're going to get screwed the worst by any kind of massive inflation. So all these proposals, these, like far leftists have, they're just going to screw over their own fan base, in my opinion. But nobody wants to hear that. They just want, a feel good, heart story that makes them, feel like they're changing the world.
Yeah, I mean, I just live in reality. I got into it with a woman at work about guns. She's super left, and she goes, "Well, why can't we get rid of all the guns?" I was at work, so I couldn't use my normal terminology of "Are you stupid?"
Is it your boss?
No. This woman, she's really nice, and I go, 30 to 40% of the population own most of the guns. We're not giving our guns up. She's like, but why won't you? And I'm like,
yeah, a lot of people don't live in reality. I mean, honestly, like I don't even debate people that are so ridiculously out of touch. There's no point in arguing, but there is a significant chunk of people that I think would like to hear or would benefit and probably listen to our message. It just takes time.
Yeah, no, I agree with you because I my buddy at work, I'm giving him the little book that beats the market. He's invested in marijuana stock. I finally got a chance. Yeah, I finally got a chance to talk to him. And I started explaining the thrift savings program. And this is something that was mentioned. I don't want to seem like I'm riding the jock, but I just need to reference. Everything Money pointed this out. I had forgotten this. Your tax advantaged accounts can't be rated in bankruptcy. So if you ever need, that's why most of your money should be in there, because if you declare bankruptcy and you have a whole bunch of securities and equities in your brokerage account, those are gone now. But if all your money's in a Roth IRA in a 401k, just like, yeah, I could take the hit for 7 years and ride this out.
Yeah, I mean, most of my wealth is tied up in tax advantage. I would say maybe half my wealth, maybe 55% is in tax advantage accounts. And I want that to increase. So if I have to sell a taxable investment to put it into a tax advantage account, because I don't have savings, for example, I would do it just because there's always that risk that you could get sued or, whatever happens. It's always the best strategy. But you can't access it to your 59 and a half, Jay. What about?
I did this today. I go, okay, everything that's happened, buying the house, I got 10 grand in credit card debt. And that's from getting the new lease on the car and everything. The crap that went wrong with my plumbing and my AC threw me up there. I go, you know what? We're at historic highs here. Boom, I sold 10 grand. I sold all my stocks except Bank of New York. I trimmed my position in BABA. Everything else that isn't my core holding of the total stock market, the Vanguard Healthcare Fund, and the U.S. Growth Fund, left them alone. That's the way I'm riding it. Once this is done, everything's going in the TSP.
Yeah, that's so you paid it all off.
I'm going to next week.
Yeah, that's really smart, dude. Because like, if you think about like projected returns, you're much better off just selling your crap, even paying the taxes.
That's what I thought about it. I'm like, I'm probably going to get negative returns out of this. I got 15% or whatever it is, when people are like, why don't you know your APR? I'm like, because for the most part, I pay my balance off every month, so I don't care.
Yeah, I have no clue what my APR is.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's when you know you're either, there's only one or two things that can happen there. You don't know your APR because you're a good credit card user, or you're a stupid credit card user. We're good credit card users because we were like, how much interest do you pay? Oh,
just pay the minimum, bro. Don't matter.
I knew a dude that paid the minimum for a solo flex in the military, and we're all trying to tell him what a moron he was. And then we calculated it out, and it's something like he paid $5,000 for a solo flex.
Yeah, dude, it'll blow your mind how much you will pay for something if you're paying the minimum on a credit card. I mean, that is the dumbest thing you could possibly do. Now, like one of my weaknesses is I've never really been in debt, so I'm not very like astute or knowledgeable on like how to get out of debt besides paying it off. So like somebody like Dave Ramsey, I guess because he's been in massive debt before, that's why he's so much better at it than I am. But I mean, if you've never been in debt, it's kind of hard to like really address questions about it.
No, it is. But if you apply a logical process that consists of, I have debt, I need to lower my standard of living and pay off debt. Like I just went and it's like I would tell somebody, I just went to Red Lobster today and ate snow crab legs. That's like a $30 meal. Okay.
Oh, you're going to be bankrupt.
Yeah. But if you're in massive debt, you don't have Red Lobster money.
Yeah, you don't deserve to do anything if you're in debt. Sorry. You're going to hate your life. You get your 401k match and everything else should be going to pay off that debt. Everything. You should be working like 2-3 jobs, whatever you got to do, and just suffer until it's all gone.
Yeah, and then when the suffering is going to remind you to keep going. You're like, I can quit this job. I can quit this third job once I'm out of debt.
Yeah, or you can keep doing it, and then you can max all your tax advantage accounts. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That is my only motivation. That's one of my main motivations. I mean, like I enjoy doing YouTube. It's fun to me. But like I tutor, I'm in the army, do all this extra crap. And the driving motivation behind everything I do is to freaking be able to max my tax advantage accounts.
Yeah, you do a lot. You really do.
Yeah, and that's just because I'm motivated. I mean, if I didn't give a crap about investing, I could live off my my work salary and just be like, all right, yeah, maybe do have a little bit of debt, and I would be just fine. But you got to have that fire, ladies and gentlemen, to actually build real wealth. And once you get that fire, it never goes away, and then you just get rich insanely quickly.
Well, my boss asked me, he goes, why do you still come to work? I'm like, I got a 10-year plan, homie. And he's like, what's your 10-year plan? You go, in 10 years, I'll be at 20 years in the federal pension. I'm 100% disabled vet. I go, if I save my entire paycheck for the next 10 years, in the TSP, do you know how ridiculous my TSP is going to be? And then at that point, with the pension and, you know, the disability, I can live quite comfortably and just watch that money stack up every year. Not touch it, not do anything with it.
Yeah, I mean, once you get rich enough, you're going to just be generating so much money. You don't have to do crap. You can do whatever you want, and you can say whatever you want. Now, I mean, I don't have a big filter on YouTube, but, I mean, once I'm actually, like, completely financially independent, I'm going to say and do whatever I want. I'm not going to give a crap if I get in trouble.
Dude, I didn't do it because I was like, I know it would just generate too much controversy now, and I can't go on TV and just say I don't care. But it was, I think I told you about this last time. Sit there and be like, tonight we're going to do a book reading. How to read White Fragility. Start, open it up, be like, read a couple sentences, pick up a trash can, throw it in there, then just pull up something like this and be like, or this, and be like, that's how you read White Fragility.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't know, that book he held up, Stop Being a Broke Loser, that's my book. Now, I want to confess something to you, ladies and gentlemen. I make about $1.50 from every ebook sale, and I make about $2 from my my hardback. So if I get 1,000 people a month to buy my hardback, I can almost retire. So I encourage you to tell all your friends to buy my book, and even do it on a monthly recurring basis. Thank you.
Dude, I'm gonna finish One Up on Wall Street and do a book report on that. Then I'm gonna read your book and do a book report on it.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, I mean, my book wasn't edited professionally. I mean, most of the grammar's good, but it's not. If you see mistakes, don't get all butthurt about it because it's.
Dude,
not.
I wouldn't pick that out. I'm gonna do Sven Carlin's book, and like I'll probably point out there's a few grammatical errors, but the dude's writing in a second language, so you know. And it's like, I'll probably point that out. I'll be like, remember, this is a self-edited book, and you always want 2 or 3 eyes on whatever you write. But I probably won't even point that out because what I'm doing is the key takeaways from the book. That's how I'm going to start doing them. Like Peter Lynch talks about in chapter 9 of One Up on Wall Street. He said, if there's one stock I don't want to own, it's the hottest stock in the hottest industry.
Yeah, and that's true. And once you internalize that, that's why like I just had a gut negative reaction to like Tesla or NEO or ARK, anything that has massively shot up, and everybody's talking about it, and everybody's talking about cryptocurrency too. That should scare the crap out of you, and you should get out of it immediately.
Well, there's another thing I did that I've been using this example, and I actually brought up the article. I ask people at work that don't know that are trying to talk to me about stocks. I go, Domino's and Google both IPO'd in 2004. Which one would you have done better with today? And every single person tells me Google. And I'm like, wrong. You would have almost doubled your returns by buying Domino's. Do you understand this complicated industry that you're going into? Oh, you don't? Good, because I understand what Domino's does. It sells pizzas.
Yeah, I mean, most people, I mean, that's why I'm a Boglehead, because most people are so overconfident in their abilities, and most people don't know jack about how to really value a stock. It's just the sad truth. They're so overconfident that, you know, they buy all the worst stocks and they get screwed. That's why I always say people are better off in index funds.
Well, this is the problem, too. This is a huge problem. Smart people understand risks in things like unknown unknowns. Rip Donnie Rumsfeld, for Donald Rumsfeld died. Not that I was really a big fan, but I mean, I've heard things that at 9/11, that dude was out in the rubble trying to pull people out. So that's a pretty stud move right there. But there's things you don't know that you don't know, and smart people understand that. So they're less certain when they speak. They're like, okay, this is what I think is going on. If you listen to a science convention on YouTube, they'll be like, okay, this is what we think is happening, and we don't understand why. Morons. Well, BioNano is going to be worth $10,000 because of this experimental technology. Me. I don't understand. You're an idiot if you don't like this stock. But it's got negative free cash flows. It's about year-over-year sales, moron. Like,
it doesn't matter if it's profitable, bro. Profits don't matter. You should put your money in a business that literally just burns it, because it's the future, bro. People are so stupid, man. But people like you know, and you've pointed this out too. They have their whole like, you know, self-worth tied up in this stock. And I believe it's because they're so hopeless that it's basically their lottery ticket. And they're so, you know, praying that the stock takes off and that it's going to save them, that if you criticize the stock and you point out obvious things like, oh, it doesn't even have revenues. Wow. They just explode on you and they download the video.
I'm getting called a moron for reading the risk section of tech.
I mean, I say this every live stream. I love the hate comments because like I like to debate the people, and they have no idea what they're talking about. They're just like, bro.
Well, one guy used to go like, I'm going to be back August 12th. You just made a clown out of yourself. I made a clown out of myself because I didn't invest into a speculative technology with a lot of risks burning a lot of cash. No hope of actually becoming profitable. Yeah, I'm going to feel really bad if that stock turns into the next it stock. I'm going to feel real bad about it because I'm just going to go, well, based on the information I had at hand, that was a smart decision.
You know, one of the most beautiful things about missing a hot stock that becomes $1 trillion company, there's this crazy story. I have this ETF called VT, and in the top 10 stocks by market cap in that VT, there used to not be Tesla. And then Tesla exploded, and I owned it, and now it's in the top 10 of my VT ETF, which means I benefited from the stock, and I didn't have to freaking YOLO all my money into it.
Yeah, and we're also going to be hurting when that thing comes back to Earth. But
yeah, I mean, they're going to get clapped.
I'll be
fine.
They're getting their cheeks busted when
they're getting their cheeks clapped. But I mean, like Tesla is like 0.45% of VT. Oh, if it goes to zero, man, I'm just completely wiped out, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I know exactly what's going to happen. Like morons like Meet Kevin are going to go, well, the reason why this stock really failed is because people didn't have diamond hands. and you know that it was short and it was short sellers. And then we're going to get hate because, well, if you guys wouldn't have just crapped all over Tesla being high and would have just bought it and held on, it would be worth a lot today. And I'm like, it's not my responsibility to make dumb decisions about my retirement to make you happy.
I mean, people have like binary views of stocks. It's like either you're a long and you're super bullish or you're a short seller, which I get those comments all the time. It's when I dump on a stock. It's like, no, I'm actually not shorting the stock. I don't care either way. I'm just pointing out that this stock is freaking trash. But there's so much propaganda on Wall Street Bets that people literally think that you're either long or you're short. There's no other possible way you could, not.
Yeah, there's no, I find a good company right now, right? If I go through a 10K on the latest whatever, they invented, I don't know, they invented a new mousetrap. And I look through the risk sections and I'm like, this company does have potential, even it's burning negative cash flow right now. Let's set this aside and come back and look at it in a year.
Yeah, I mean, like just because it has negative cash flow, it doesn't mean it's never going to be profitable. But I mean, like if you're looking at a stock and you really want to gamble, at least see it start to generate positive and growing cash flows, and then you can maybe buy into it. But until then, if it's just burning more and more and more and more money every year, you're just giving them your money so they can spend it on crap, pay the CEO a huge salary.
Well, that's, again, what I said to my buddy. I go, is Amazon a good stock to buy right now? And he goes, yeah. I go, you're incorrect. And he didn't understand it. So I said, Amazon's massively overvalued right now. Like the massive growth that you expect out of Amazon is going to come to a halt in the next couple of years. It's almost the size of Walmart. It can't grow by 30% for the next 10 years. It's just too big.
Yeah, that's the case with everything. It's like the bigger the company, you can't just grow into infinity. And that basically requires a lower price to earnings ratio as growth decreases, which will decrease the price of the stock.
Well, I've come to the conclusion of lately when people say, well, you pay a premium for growth. I'm like, you pay a premium for growth. I don't. If I can get a high growth company and I think it's going to become high growth in the stock and I can find it for a PE ratio of 12, I'm jumping in, but I'm not going to pay Amazon a premium for their earnings. Why would I? Because it ultimately comes down to $1. I want to buy $1. How much do I want to pay for it? I'm not paying $1.10 for this dollar when there's somewhere over here that I can buy $1 for 50 cents.
I mean, you can just compare Tesla. I mean, Tesla and Bob are two entirely different companies. But if you just look at the metrics, so both have like pretty massively growing revenues every year. But Baba's PE is like 26 And Tesla's PE is like what, 650 right now. So if you're looking at the two, you're like, Baba's revenues are growing at 30%. Tesla's revenues are growing at 30-40%. One has a PE that's low and one's high. Which one is the better investment, ladies and gentlemen? Oh, Tesla!
Well, dude, here's the problem. Here's what you're not getting about Tesla, dude. It's going to be an ecosystem. Ignore the fact that 86% of their sales come from cars, because what's going to happen with Tesla is by 2025, as you're driving your car, you won't be driving it. Actually, what will be happening is the Tesla car will be rubbing your balls and making you inside of the car as it self drives you there. 2030. Now we've got Neuralink. So now your brain is hooked up to Tesla, and now Elon Musk is considered king and rules the planet. 2040, Starlink, we've conquered Mars.
And Mars has Mars is using Dogecoin as the cryptocurrency. Did you see that video I made of that idiot? I thought he was joking. And then I was like, oh, I think he's serious.
It is 200. How is this? I'm like, how dumb are you that you get on there? Like, you have to be dumber than that guy. This is why sometimes I'm like, man, I hope an asteroid just ends all of this. Because I'm just sitting back watching this. You have to be dumber than him to be like, wait, okay, so we'll put people on Mars and Doge is the currency? I need to get in on this Doge.
Every time I do the video, every time somebody says it out loud, it's just so freaking hilarious.
Dude, you gotta, like, anybody looking for comedy in the world, like if you're watching our channel, you're probably pretty smart. Go and watch, what is it, Last Stand?
Final Stand, I think. I already forgot his name.
Go and watch this absolute moron. He might be dumber than Chicken Genius.
Dude, I think he's only been on YouTube for 6 months, and he has 244,000 subscribers. Holy crap. There are so many morons on YouTube. I seriously consider making like an alternate channel where I pump meme stocks just to see how fast it can grow. And then just compare the channels.
That would be funny, dude. Well, I was doing that for a little bit where I'm like, every metric I look for in a stock is here. Price to book, selling at 7. Price to sales, selling at 7. Even though, historically you want to buy those for under 1.
Yeah, it's like the worse the metrics, the more likely you are to YOLO. Like going back to Tesla, so one guy said that Tesla was an ETF because they have so much other stuff. And it infuriates me because I look at the 10K and the cars as a percentage of sales has increased over time.
I saw that.
Yeah, so it's like 84% last year or something, and then it was like 86%, like you said. It's like, come on, how is this not a freaking car company, you morons? I mean, if it changes, okay, then I'll acknowledge that. But the trend I'm seeing is the exact opposite. But it's an ETF, bro. You might as well just put all 100% Tesla. It's like VT.
It's like saying, even if the ecosystem comes around, that's like saying Apple's an ETF.
Yeah. I mean, I'd rather you YOLO all your money into Apple, even though I think that's kind of pricey too. Rather you YOLO, huh?
If you want to look at decent stocks, you just do the magic formula. That's the easiest way. I've been going through them, looking at like their metrics slowly.
Explain to us the magic formula.
Little book that beats the market, Joel Greenblatt. I think what they're using is enterprise value. So you sign up at themagicformula.com, and how big do you want your portfolio to be? I put 50 stocks. Here's 50 stocks that meet that guy's metrics. That dude is smarter than you are. Start there. Look at those stocks. Maybe they're right for your portfolio. I was looking at a sports gear company. Not right for me, but I was just reading through their 10K in the risk section.
Did Tesla pop up in that list?
No. But yeah, I mean, it's like I'm with you. The more I learn, the less confident I am in actually beating the market or trusting my decision.
Yeah, like I did a quick kind of like napkin math, free cash flow analysis of Walmart. And I was like, wow, this is pretty good. This might actually be a good buy. And then I was like, well, I'm guessing different multiples. Like I did a 12 multiple of free cash flow, 15, 20, and it all looked good. But at the end of the day, you just don't freaking know. It's all guesswork, which is like, I was like, screw it. I'm not going to do it.
I was going to point this out to you, though. You can't take in account last year. Because
I averaged out the free cash flow growth over the last 5 years. Yeah, last year was crazy, but I said, okay, it's about 4%, 4.5% free cash flow growth, which I think is reasonable for Walmart. That's how I did it.
If you said to me, you're like, Jay, I'm done. I'm throwing all my money in Walmart and Coke, and that's what I'm going to be invested in. I'd be like, I think you should just buy the whole world or the whole US, but that might not be the worst decision I've ever heard, is to just put your money like that. If I had to just own a single company, it would probably be Walmart or Amazon if I was forced into it. But even then, Eastman Kodak was a stalwart of the Dow Jones for 100 years. And what are they today?
Yeah, it's scary. I mean, like you might think because like we just can't imagine the future. It's so far out. 100 years from now, who freaking knows what companies are going to be in the top of the S&P 500? I mean, you just don't know. And that's why that's the beauty of total market index funds is you buy every freaking stock and the winners eventually conquer it and the losers drift away.
Well, Bill Gates pointed this out. You can't predict what the biggest company in the world is going to be in 50 years. But one thing you can predict is it hasn't been created yet.
Yeah. Pretty decent observation.
Because
Hyliion was going to be the next Tesla.
Yeah. I'd assign like 110% chance that Tesla is the largest company in the world forever.
I think Hyliion didn't. I mean, I forget all the friggin' stocks of videos I do. I like look at them and then I'm like, I'm not going to invest in this crap. But I'm pretty sure Hyliion didn't have any revenues. And somebody goes, oh yeah, it's going to be the biggest company in the world.
I got called a moron because of my Lordstown video. And I'm like, do you understand? The management is stating, we don't know if we're ever going to be profitable. Like, I would go with what they're saying and just avoid it. Because,
they're not even producing cars. Like, it's like literally there's just crappy factory in Lordstown, whatever. And they're not even producing. They don't even have their cars in production yet. I mean, come on. How stupid you have to be.
There was a video a guy did. And when the reporter was asked body language, the CEO a question, he said, well, are you producing cars? And the guy goes, yes.
No, I mean, they're not.
That's a definitive indicator right there that you're lying to me. Your body, it's like the Christopher Walken scene in True Romance. It's like, you're not giving me anything, but you're telling me everything.
Well, whatever. Ryan Scribner bought it, so you might as well yell all your money into it. All right, let's get some comments.
Did Scribbles really buy it?
It was like an old video. He did. He was like, here are my 5 EV plays. And he had the face. And then I think Lordstown was one of them. I can't believe it. What about me? I'm the best guest. If you don't give me $1,000, you're not my best guest. Okay. But if you give me $1,000 right now, then I will give you the crown of best guest. Will the Boglehead boys trash clown meet Kevin? It's almost a guarantee. I mean, he's one of the easier targets on YouTube.
Thanks for reminding me. I changed his name and it vibes with Valuetainment. He actually said it was wrong. So for those of you that weren't around in the ancient days of the early internets, there was a web page called that your friends would send you to as a joke called Meat Spin. And
I remember that.
so now I call Kevin Meat Spin Kevin.
God, he's so slimy. Like, I'm not even saying this just to be a dick. Like, he really is slimy, nasty, oily man.
When he was on Valuetainment, I couldn't even get through. He would make these snide little comments to the guest over there that had been training mixed martial arts. And I'm like, I hope this guy just decks him. Just open hand slaps him right off the table. Like,
yeah, there was like that massive yoked guy sitting next to him. Yeah. I would just crush him, man.
I was like, until that dude got to know me and knows that I'm not serious, I wouldn't say anything sarcastic to him because I don't want that dude just teeing off on me. Like, I find myself on the ground in an impromptu jiu-jitsu match with a guy far better than me.
Yeah, that'd probably be a quick. I think he was like, isn't he like a trained fighter? That'd be a pretty quick match. I like Best Buy. If there's a drop of 10%, I'm buying great cash flow. I believe you. I haven't looked at Best Buy.
I'd have to look at it, but I'm pretty sure Best Buy is a good company. But I would just recommend this to you. I don't know what's Best Buy. Best Buy.
What's the price to sales?
I would have to go to a separate site because Yahoo doesn't get. Just give me 1 second.
All right, yeah, I'll keep going through the comments, and then when you pull it
up. Yeah, dude, actually, you got a good point, man, on if it drops 10%, you're in good company. Its PE ratio is 13.56. Earnings per share, $8.53. Yeah, Best Buy, man, if that fits your portfolio, you're telling me you're going in, I'd be like, looks like a good play.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cheap compared to the rest of the market. You always want to find out why, because stocks just don't have low PE ratios for no reason. But, I mean, generally, you're going to be better off by buying low PE ratio stocks. Whatever happened to the NFT hype crash?
Go ahead, dude.
No, you told me a crash. I didn't really hear anything about it, though.
It's just more speculative nonsense, man. When those first came out, and people were talking about NFTs, I'm like, what the fuck is an NFT? And I go in it, you're spending $5 million on an internet meme. You're a moron. You could have sent that money to me, and I would have been productive with it.
How much would you pay for Meat Spin?
If I stole Kevin's money, all of the $6 million he made last year.
Yeah, he's making a fortune off YouTube, man. It's insane how much he makes. I bought some Alibaba after watching your breakdown. Good boy. Just don't put all your money into it, okay?
Just keep it less than 5%.
Yeah, if you YOLO'd all your money, you need to freaking get out of it. You know, I have like 1.5% of my portfolio in it, and if it goes to crap, then I don't really care.
I got like 4% of my portfolio in it, and it scares me personally.
Yeah, you're fine, man. I mean, I'm pretty confident that stock is going to be higher in 10 years. I love dump. Is that actually a ticker symbol? Dump. Taking a dump.
I assumed the dude was dropping a turd right now. That's what he said.
I love Popo. People don't even know what AR stands for. Is that like Arkansas or something?
No, Armalite rifle.
Oh, no, I'm just kidding.
Oh.
Who isn't investing in their TSP? They match 5%. Oh, there's lots of stupid people out there, man. There's a lot of stupid people out there.
Hey, I go into work and they're like, so I should buy Tesla stock, right? And I go,
they all sound just like that. Can I like Tesla?
Yeah, and I go, have you maxed your TSP? Yeah, I put my 5% in there. Okay, first off, you put 4% in there, but $19,500. They're like, you can put that much money? I go, you guys are the same people that will sit around putting hours of research into what hot water heater you're going to put into your house, but you don't even think about your freaking retirements and leaving the horrible, horrible, disgraceful world of the 9-to-5 job.
Oh, it's hilarious to me. People are like, you're going to regret dumping on this stock. It's like, well, I'm putting $19,500 into my thrift savings plan. Plus I get a match that doesn't count against that limit. Oh, and I've maxed my IRA. So I've saved like $30,000 in tax advantage accounts. I don't care what happens to your stupid little meme stock. But yeah, there's a lot of stupid people out there. I bet you there's like a good 30-40% that don't even get the match because they're too busy.
I worked with a Marine who I was trying to encourage him to put his money in, and he goes, "No, man, I had money in there after the 2008 crash, and I lost a ton of money." I go, "If you would have kept it in there, you would have tripled your money by now." Blank look. This guy buys $180 dive watches that match all his outfits, and he would come in with a new one every week, and he's like, "Well, all I do is I don't really pay that much. I just have him I pay installments, and it comes out of my paycheck." And I'm like,
oh, people are so stupid. You know, one thing I don't like about the TSP is you don't have total international exposure. So I'm thinking, because I have my Army TSP and I've stopped contributing to that, I think I'm just going to roll all that delicious money into my Roth IRA so I can actually buy VT. Because I hate to miss out on like Chinese stocks and Russia, India, China, all that crap. Because you can't get those in the TSP.
That might be a smart play.
I mean, because especially China's sketchy, but I mean, I think if you have a total China exposure, I think in 10, 15, 20 years, you'll probably be doing better. Just saying. Just don't YOLO into a ton of individual Chinese stocks.
I got that. He's got that Olive Garden money. Dude, I go to Red Lobster. Like, I've gone twice in like the past 8 years. That's how often I eat at Red Lobster with that Red Lobster money.
I know. You're just a baller, Jay. I'm a little jealous. My number one goal for me is to retire. Isn't that all our goal, ladies and gentlemen? Imagine being able to do and say whatever you want, whenever you want. Be delicious. Those Tesla pumpers are crazy. Have you heard about a financial advisor, Ross Gerber? What a stupid name. He is about to lose. I'm sorry if any of you are named Gerber. He's about to lose a lot of people's money pumping Tesla. Hey, okay, guys, if you guys have any scumbags that you identify, please email them to me or Jay. I don't know if Jay, you give out your email, but
dude, I'm gonna start. I'm gonna put up a separate one from my actual personal one because I guess some people have tried to contact me and I never responded. I don't know if emails get lost in that account.
Okay, yeah. I mean, just send it to my email and then because I'm gonna forget.
Comment. You can comment on my comment section because I had a guy say it was that dude that wanted to do an interview, and he said, "What do you think of Oxygen?" And I went on there and I made speculative trash video.
Yeah, that guy was weird, man. There's this. If you guys don't know, there's this random guy that's like, "I want to interview you" on his Oxygen video. He was a very odd, low energy man.
Yeah, but I mean, Keenan Grace, he's got high energy, and that dude's telling you to buy stupid stuff.
I mean, at least Keenan's fun for entertainment purposes, but don't listen to him. What about Apple?
Overvalued.
It's probably overvalued. I mean, I haven't really looked at it.
Dude, this is the thing. This is the thing that, like I said, Peter Lynch talks about. You want to look in areas nobody else is. Everybody's trying to get rich quick, right? So if you're looking, the best thing you could do is go into the small and mid-cap companies where it's not overhyped, or use the magic formula and go through the magic formula that this guy uses. Returned about 30% per year. He's one of the greatest investors of all time. And it's right there. And, because it's like, I listen to people and I'm like, when you go to work, whatever stock everybody else is talking about, assess whether they actually know what they're talking about, because there's a whole bunch of people that have suddenly become financial advisors in the last year.
It's because they know so much. I mean, they watch Keenan Grace on YouTube. But I mean, like one thing I'll say on the if you want to trade in and out of stocks, you want to do it in your Roth IRA, because even like the magic formula, I think the Everything Money guys are using that.
You did a good video on that.
Yeah, if you calculate the after-tax return, it's actually below the market, which is why I always say buy index funds, because then you're not buying and selling and triggering taxable gains. Nice idea. Do a masked meme stock channel. I think I'm going to do it if I have time. Me, Kevin should come and debate you guys. I would poop all over his face. I don't know.
Dude, you know how ruthlessly brutal that would get, where we're sitting there explaining to him, like, dude, we're real guys that go out into bars and we're drinking while we were in the military. We can read through your BS. I'd be like, I can smell your BS all the way over in California. It smells like a homeless guy's balls. Smelling it here, you're a liar. Most of the stocks in your stupid portfolio are hot speculative trash, and you're going to destroy people's lives. This dude sucks. When
you can't talk to me like that. I'm going to be the governor of California.
Yeah, when people are like, dude, Nog, you get so mad. Get your anger in check. I'm like, I am only angry because I know what this moron is going to do to people's futures.
If you only understood, ladies and gentlemen, how freaking horrible me, Kevin, is, you would understand our rage, okay? We're not just haters to hate. There's actually a reason why we trash on that moron.
I point out, like, I did a video where I used investing sucks, Eric, and I said, this is your due diligence, because he's doing his due diligence. I'm like, this is what your due diligence is. And so if somebody's there's a lot of YouTubers that are great. Sven Carlin, Everything Money, Cameron Stewart, Investing Sucks, Strongman, Nagi. There's a lot of good channels out there.
But they're all buried under the algorithm. That's why I've been focusing on memes, like dumping on meme stocks and stupid cryptos. Because like you got to grow to the point where you start getting recommended by YouTube. And until you get there, I mean, you can make the best video in the world about index funds. Nobody's going to see it. I had a dude tell me he would rather have Palantir or Tesla rather than Tencent or Baba. Yeah, there you go. Climaxes are fuel.
Wait, going back to that comment was before that one before. Quick question. When that person told you that, did you spit in their face and walk off? Just spit in their face to show your contempt and just walk.
Did you murder his whole family?
Yeah, you should have. With an axe.
Put their heads on spikes. How dare you say you want Tesla?
Watch,
you'd rather buy Bitcoin or Neo than have Alibaba. Chinese government risks. Oh, there's no risks in Bitcoin, ladies and gentlemen. Or isn't Neo a Chinese stock?
Neo's a Chinese stock. How did he really say those words? Because now I'm convinced he's dumber than ever if he did. This meat spin Kevin stupidity is only exceeded by a few into the stratosphere. Genius Chicken and that one guy, Warren, whatever, was 85% of his portfolio in Tesla, and he's in his 60s. And all I think is, you better get those high heels shined up, boy, because we're going down to the truck stop.
No, dude, the dumbest guy is that Dogecoin guy I just made a video about. Like that guy is like officially like 70 IQ.
Yeah, because at least with Genius Chicken, at least he bought an actual company that produces something, regardless of whether it's massively overvalued.
All right, we're almost through the comments. I was definitely joking. I just watched Final Stand. It was hilarious. Yeah, he's so stupid. Oh, boy. I like 10 quarterly dividend, hits the meme cycle. I don't know. If it's a meme stock, I'd stay away from it. And I don't like covered calls. I mean, they can trigger a lot of taxes if you're not careful.
That's a freaking
Isn't that a REIT? I think it's a REIT. I don't know. Maybe I've seen it on Wall Street Bets. I just don't quite remember. Love the fact that these lads call out the mofos making a killing on YouTube. I mean, I'm not against people making a killing on YouTube.
You know who's absolutely crushing it on YouTube? Sven Carlin, Cameron Stewart, and Everything Money. And they give great advice. Even Graham Stephan, I point out, he gives good advice. I I hope that dude makes a lot of money. I don't know why he partners with those knuckleheads, but I mean, that's his prerogative. But like Graham Stephan was one of the first guys that I started watching on YouTube, and I was like, this guy's smart. He's throwing all his money in index funds.
Yeah, you don't have to be a total sellout to make money on YouTube. Ontario Resources. What is that? Hot stock I should buy? Lots of money.
Hell yeah.
That will grow more and more once a lot of people lose money on day trading. Yeah, we're patient. We're long-term investors. I mean, I'm whatever. I have a job. If I don't make money on YouTube, it's not the end of the world. You guys are great. Unfortunate that YouTube algorithm encourages weapons of mass destruction like Kevin and Jeremy.
They are weapons of... Dude, Tattoo Chef, give me a break. You pointed this out. They're highly dependent on one company. Only 8% of people are vegan. I'm never going to lose my balls and become a low energy plant herbivore. It's not going to happen.
But Jeremy, I mean, because there are a lot of soy boys out there. I mean, Jeremy might be onto something with Tattooed Chef. You know what I'm saying?
Well, as soon as people find out that plant-based meat is actually terrible for you because it's filled with soy, that's why these guys are all so soft. They're just eating soy, and it's destroying their testosterone production.
Yeah, I'm actually scared. I eat a lot of edamame, and apparently that's like soy central. Maybe that's why I'm injured now. I can't lift weights. It's very sad. Chris, do a final stand video. I think I just put one out, unless there's like something else. If not, our BFFL pact is done. The stakes are raised, bro. Bring the Heat Lords Town to the moon, bro. That's a bunch of different comments stringed together. Graham Stephan is real life friends with me, Kevin. I mean, that makes me question Graham's character.
Mm-hmm.
How could you be friends with Meat Kevin? I mean, he's just so oily. I don't know.
Yeah.
I get a bad vibe from him.
Maybe I get a bad vibe from Meat Kevin. I don't know. Maybe if I met the dude in a bar and he was really humble and down to earth, I'd get along with him. But he just didn't seem that way from that valuetainment. It just came across to me as a used car salesman, especially the way he was talking to some of those guys.
Yeah, I mean, even when I first, because like I wasn't really digging into him, you know, a year or two ago when I first heard about him. The first video I saw him, I was just like, I don't like this guy. You know, there's something not right about him. Colin McRae. No. I don't know. I forgot the context of that. All right, we're done with comments. I'm going to go take a piss.
Me too. And I'll be back. I need to grab another kombucha.
Don't leave. PP. If you do, I will cry. There we go.
Get this book.
All right, I'm throwing in a big fat wad of tobacco. Then I'll show my face. Oh, you know what sucks about having a kid is you can't drink as much anymore because they wake you up 5 times a night.
Dude, I got to dial back my drinking. I'm starting tomorrow. I got an idea for a script I'm going to write.
What's your idea?
It's about an old veteran, and like a younger veteran who works at the Veterans Administration, and they have just they start talking and they become friends before the old man dies. But the old man lived this incredible life and is just recounting his service in World War II, in the Korean War, and how he did 20 years in the Army, and then he got out and he became a badass cop. And then it allows me to say all the conservative things that I want to say through his voice, talking about how, people today, they don't want to sacrifice anything, like how we've become a nation of just weak consumers, perpetually offended about everything. So I can say it in that old school style and just excuse it. The dude was born in the 20s. That's how he would have talked.
They're going to call you a boomer. They're going to downvote your video.
Well, I'm going to write this script out, and then I'm going to try and get it to the Daily Wire, Ben Shapiro, because or Tim Pool, because they're going to start making content.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Tim Pool. He's just like he has these stupid clickbait titles. He's like, oh my god, the world's ending.
Well, he also doesn't really know anything about investing. That's why I'd love to get on his channel and be like,
does he talk about investments?
I think cryptocurrency is an investment. So I could be like, Tim, I love you. I love all you guys, right? I'm just telling you right now, take your money out of crypto.
I hate all these massive channels. Like, didn't you say Valuetainment also pumped it, or were they pumping something else?
They've talked about crypto, and Patrick Bet, Pat Bet, whatever his last name. He said he was talking about an investment. This is why never listen to somebody who leads with authority. Well, I'm this massive business owner, so that's why you should listen to me. It's an appeal to authority. On that, you should be out alone. Somebody who's really into it is going to explain to you why. Like, hey, man, before you jump in, let me explain why. This is what I do. Okay, these are the dangers. He was talking about how baseball cards are investments, and I wanted to be like in front of all those guys. Do baseball cards, your Wayne Gretzky rookie card, does it produce cash flows? No? Then it's not an investment.
But when I sell it, I get cash.
Yeah. Greater fool theory. You're speculating there's going to be like, if you came to me and you're like, Jay, I need money. Can I sell you my Wayne Gretzky card? It's in perfect condition. Like, I'll give you $100. It's worth $20,000. To you, it's worth $20,000. To me, it's worth nothing.
Yeah, I mean, any kind of physical asset is trash. That's why I'll never buy any kind of commodities, or it's so simple to understand what's an investment and what's not. If it doesn't have cash flows, it's not an investment. It's that simple. Everything else is speculation.
Yeah, I can make all the same arguments about Grogu behind me on why you should buy my Grogu for $20,000.
He's so tiny back there, I can barely see him. He's got like a lamp illuminating him in the background.
I've got him, and I've got my sea turtle that I won at a fair in Germany. And he's been tried to be stolen so many times by women. But can I just have your sea turtle? And I'm like, no, you cannot have sea turtle. He stays with me.
You could burn my house down. You could smash my car. But if you touch my sea turtle, that's it, woman.
Two things you can't have, love. You can't have my AR-15, and you can't have sea turtle. I'm willing to part with Grogu.
Yeah, Grogu, you can probably get another one for like, what, $20?
Yeah, made by a Chinese slave. I'm employing him.
Sorry, I shouldn't laugh at that. But it's true.
Made by some Uyghur that's just sitting on an assembly line wanting to die, and there's a dude poking him in the back with a baton going, you make more Grogu.
Jay Nagi needs his Grogu.
Well, that's, when people are talking about Amazon, I keep talking about this. Amazon can do a lot to rehab its image. This is why Amazon needs to pay me a consulting fee. Like, Jay, we're seen as a really bad company. Okay. You're a great company, but You treat your workers like crap. We all know that. How about you put a button up there? And they were talking about this on Rogan's podcast, but I've said this before. How about you put a button up there, like when I'm ordering my stuff, like, when do you need it? How about you give the guy that's going to get my stuff a 15-minute break, and then you get it mailed out to me whenever, because I don't need this. And then if I really need it and I want it now, how about you allow me to tip that guy?
That tip goes to really complicated to do, but
I'm just saying. You know, it's like I don't need my new investing books here tomorrow. I can wait a couple weeks.
Yeah, I'm an impatient animal. I want my stuff and I want it now.
But if you had been smart and anticipated, you're like, oh, I'm on my last book, so I should order some new books now.
I'm not that smart. Well, actually, I get all my books now from the library. So it's like, all right, honey, I'm going to the library. Drive 2 minutes, get my book, come back. That's it.
Really?
Oh, dude, I am so cheap when it comes to everything now, especially my wife stopped working. I'm just, if I can save money any way I can, I'm going to do it.
So your wife doesn't understand that by library, you mean the library strip club.
She might be watching.
where strippers read to you financial information.
Trust me, you don't want to go to a strip club in my area. The strip club days are over, number one. And number two, I'm not, even if I did want to go to one, I'm not going to one in this area.
Dude, the one when I was living in an apartment complex with my buddy also had an apartment there. We'd go to this one strip club that was within walking distance, that it is literally the C Squad. The girls up on stage have a few bullet wounds. You can tell they got a meth addiction.
Yeah, so me and my buddy, we were traveling to DC. We had to do like some training up there for our jobs. And there was literally a strip club attached to our hotel. We had no idea when we booked it. And apparently Hunter Biden had gone there and like snorted coke or whatever he did. So I was like, hey, man, let's go there and like have lunch or something, see what it's all about. We go in there and the girls come sit next to us and they're like, well, yeah, it's like $100 and we can't even take our tops off and yada, yada, yada. I'm just like, what kind of establishment is this? $100 and you don't even like get fully undressed. It's like, come on.
Well, I mean, Hunter Biden snorts coke there, so you can go there and snort coke with him.
Yeah, that's her claim to fame. But I was just like, holy crap! I'm next to a historical site. You know, this is where Hunter Biden has been. Blew my mind. But we just ate lunch. We didn't get any lap dances, and we just went back to the hotel and played StarCraft.
Seems like a better time. I hung out in strip clubs a lot when I was young, and I got to know the strippers because I never tipped them. That's the secret. That's what turns you into a client, is if you're spending money on them. But if you're just a dude that's getting hammered in the corner, they're like, oh, that dude's cool. I'll go talk to him. But they would just tell me like how little respect they had for these guys and how they were just taking their money. One stripper was talking about how she gave a guy a lap dance and she kept farting on him.
You probably couldn't hear it over the music though, you know? Mm-mm. Yeah, strip clubs are, I don't know. I mean, if you're a young guy, okay, go look at it, but you're just going to spend a bunch of money and they're just going to tease you and they don't care about you, trust me. And the ATMs in there, they charge like $6 or $7 for a withdrawal. That is the biggest ripoff of a strip club.
Well, dude, you know, it's the thing. I was always fascinated by the older guys at a strip club trying to get these young girls. And, you know, now that I'm an older guy, I don't go to strip clubs because I'm like, I don't see the appeal. What's the appeal?
No, I mean, like, it's fun. Like, I'm 32 almost. I mean, I would go like once just for crap and giggles, but I'm not going to be going there every week like a desperate loser. Oh, my God, the girls.
Well, you're married. Like, I mean, in all honesty, if I was married and my buddies are like, "Oh, dude, it's so and so's birthday. We're going to the strip club." I'd look at my girlfriend or wife and be like, "All right, babe, we're going to the strip club tonight." And if she was like, "Well," I'd be like, "It's so and so's birthday. I don't want to go there and have conversations with these women." So you're coming.
You can even bring your wife. Like, if she's cool with it, she doesn't care. She go hang out and have some beer. It's not like this big deal if you go to a strip club. As long as you aren't like a weirdo and try to do bad things. And the bouncer will probably kick you out, ladies and gentlemen. So if you want to be a true financially independent person, don't go to strip clubs in your 20s, because I can't fathom how much I spent on strip clubs and alcohol. If I just invested that in a Roth IRA, I would probably be retired by now.
Honestly, if I could take back all the cash that I blew in bars and shit, I'd probably be retired today.
Yeah, that's a huge money suck, is going to bars. Like, and especially if you're trying to get girls, like, it's not worth the amount of money you're spending.
No, and it's also like Nate, he's always going for me. He's like, I can't wait till I go active duty. And he's like, I'm just gonna crush the whole time. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, doesn't that appeal to you anymore? And I'm like, no. I'm like, been there, done that, dude. I'll be like, who I am now at this point in my life is, if you were ever a hunter, you'll notice something. There'll be a buck, and he's still kind of in his prime. And while all the other bucks are rutting and fighting, he's over in the corner eating apples, right? Because he's done. He's done with the madness. I'm done with all that madness. If it's like, I'm just at that age, man. I just have to admit it. Like, well, you want to go to the bars and rip it up, dude? I'd rather just sit around with a girl on a Friday night and a dog and watch a movie.
Yeah, it's ironic. Like, the older you get, the more you're likely to save and not spend money on stupid things. But by that point, if you haven't saved in your younger years, you're kind of screwed.
Yeah, it's I was trying to explain it to Nate, like, going out and trying to get laid on a Friday night is so not appealing to me anymore. Like, I'm just like, the Outlaw Josie Wales, like last night, I'm like, I could probably go to the bar. Oh, the Outlaw Josie Wales is on Netflix. Looks like I'm going to watch the Outlaw Josie Wales.
Yeah, I mean, my crazy party events now are going to trivia on Wednesday. That's like the only thing I do where I go out and spend money on alcohol.
Yeah. But Scribner got one thing right when he said, he's like, stay away from alcohol. It's a killer. And it really is. But it was like, then if I was one of those people that was trying to learn investing and I bought Ryan Scribner's course, I'd need to drink a lot of alcohol to recover from the fact that I bought Ryan Scribner's course.
You know what I hate most about these courses is, like, I was a financial advisor very briefly, and even though it was a stupid job and it's a ripoff, and you shouldn't invest with one, ladies and gentlemen, I did learn, like, well, you also have to consider, like, insurance as part of your financial plan. You also need to, talk about cash management. There's multiple things that you need to think about. Investing in, preparing for retirement is not just about stocks, and literally nobody freaking talks about it. The only thing that people talk about on YouTube is the latest meme stock that's going to 20,000x. And, these people are putting their money into meme stocks, especially if they have a family. Well, do you have a life insurance policy? I mean, do you have 10 times your income to protect your spouse? If you don't, you should maybe not be investing in meme stocks quite yet.
Well, yeah. And I mean, the main thing I hate about these courses is nobody who's out there, none of these other YouTubers, you are going to learn anything in their courses that you would not learn from the little book that beats the market, and you can read that in 3 hours. It's like, it's one of the greatest books on investing ever written. I couldn't believe it when I was reading it, because I was like, this is written, this guy has so much knowledge he's throwing in your head, but it's written at a 6th grade level.
Yeah, you're making me want to read this book now. I may have to check it out.
Dude, you could go there tomorrow in the afternoon and have it read in that day.
Is it as good as my book, Jay? That can't possibly be true.
Your book is next, because right now I'm trying to finish One Up on Wall Street.
My book's not your number one priority, Jay. Come on.
Sometimes I'm selfish.
Yeah, you're really breaking my heart. It's okay. I'll forgive you. Maybe.
Sometimes I want to hear from one of the greatest investing minds of his generation.
So you're saying I'm not one of the greatest investing minds of my generation?
The only way we can find that out is in 40 years, because it's not.
Yeah, if BT just crushed it. It's like, oh, look who was right all along. Oh, and that brings up another point. All the growth investors. Like, I've said this multiple times. All these growth investors don't have to prove anything. because by the time their projections come to fruition, it's already been 5 or 10 years. And by that point, everybody's probably forgot about their YouTube channel, but they just lost all their money by buying the stocks that they recommended.
Yeah, I mean, I told you what's going to happen. When this all collapses, they're going to blame something else outside of their control, and they're going to try and be at it again. But I think whatever happens, flat decade or crash in a flat decade, I think there's still going to be people that are going to these morons and following their advice. Hopefully some of them will migrate it over here where they're like, yeah, I lost a lot of money trying to learn to invest. And we're just like, buy the whole world, buy the whole U.S. market, buy the S&P 500.
Well, I mean, like the go-to excuse is it was the short sellers or the hedgies. Like that's all they have to say, and their fans believe them. So if they put you in a bunch of bad stocks, it was the short sellers, bro. It was the Fed. They screwed you over. And they'll be like, oh, you're right, me, Kevin. You're right, Jeremy. Well, I'm just going to keep trusting you, YOLOing all my money into stupid stocks.
And I mean, I'll be honest with you. If I was making the kind of jack they're making, I might be playing spec on certain meme stocks with 5 to 10% of my portfolio. I mean,
the formula we preach applies to whatever net worth you have. Yeah. If you have $100 billion and you want to speculate with 5, go right ahead. That'll be, $5 billion you could speculate with. Yeah. That's fine. But you have to keep the same proportion. You can't just, the richer you get, the more you speculate. Like I'm still going to have 90. If I'm a multi-millionaire one day, 95% of my money is going to be in VT.
Yeah. And you convinced me to go to VT. So I'm selling off everything outside of in my brokerage. But I'm still going to have a 4 fund approach. What mine's going to become is VT basically, then some money in the REIT, then in mid caps, and some in the Vanguard healthcare.
Yeah, I mean, like you don't have to have 100% VT, and that might actually underperform like what I had before. I had like a little bit of small cap value and a little bit of REITs. But my main reasoning was I was like, crap, I'm still so weighted in the United States. I think I was like 70% US with those extra funds. I was like, screw this. I'm just going to go VT. I'll have 45% international, which makes me a lot more comfortable in this market.
Well, once any money right now, what I'm doing, once the 2 tax advantaged accounts are maxed out for the foreseeable future, I'm going to be crushing VYMI.
Yeah, that's not a bad play. If you're shoveling excess money into international or like VYMI, that's like, international value. I mean, that's the opposite of all the craze that's going on right now. So you can't really go wrong with it,
No, and I mean, it's just, I know we're going to be proven right by the fact that the U.S. market is overbought, because I know it's overbought. Europe is slightly less overbought, and a lot of the growth is going to come out of the emerging markets.
Yeah, I mean, just imagine where China is going to be in 20 or 30 years. I mean, you got to keep that kind of time frame in your investing decisions. That's why I'm so huge in the VT.
Well, think about India too. You're adding India is going to be the most populous country if it hasn't already become. And so think about they have a huge emerging middle class.
Yeah, that's where a huge explosion of wealth is going to happen. I mean, like that's why you're crazy to not be investing in international. But there's so many diehard U.S. investors. I'm 100% U.S. It's like, come on. I mean, do you really think? I mean, maybe it'll happen, but do you really think the U.S. is just going to be top dog forever and ever and ever? I don't.
That's with the debt we're taking on, I don't think that the U.S. is going to be, I don't think it's going to lose its superpower status in the 2030s and 40s, but I think you're going to have a lot more rivals to it, such as China and a lot of like Russia. I think these places, I think we're getting weaker is what I'm trying to say. They're not getting that much stronger, but we're on a downward trend. We've adopted We've done what every empire before us has done. We've overspent. We think we control the world because we control the printing press temporarily, and this is how it always goes. This was the end of the English Empire after World War I. World War II was the final death knell for it.
Yeah, I mean, you have to look back at history. You can't just like people will look back 10 years and like, oh, like they'll talk trash. They'll say, well, VT underperformed VTI. It's like, yeah, VT has international. International has sucked in the last 10 years, but the past doesn't matter. All I care about is the future. What is the future going to hold? And since I can't predict the future, well, I'm just going to buy everything and hedge my bets. And I'll probably do better than people that are buying and selling and trying to time the market and paying taxes. That's just how it is. So VT isn't going to be the super impressive thing that always beats the market because it is the market. But in the long run, if you just buy it and hold it and you're not trading and trying to time the market, you're going to crush basically every other investor.
Yeah. Yeah. To me, it's a no-brainer. Yeah, because I told you I was total US market, and you're like, dude, you need some international. And then I started thinking about it, and I was like, yeah, he's right. I'm like, Chris is right.
Yeah, and it's like all these people, like you go on YouTube and you look, and everybody's like, oh my God, what are we going to do in the market? They only talk about the US market. They don't even consider international. It's like, okay, well, if you're worried about the US market overheated, there's other countries that are a lot cheaper. They have much cheaper stock markets. Maybe you could invest in them. But everybody has such a great home bias that they don't even consider that because it sucked in the last 10 years. It's like, okay, whatever. I don't care.
Yeah, and see, it's like if Germany regained industrial power of the world, they have a powerful economy anyways. But it's like, I'd be like, let me get in on that German market there. That's looking juicy.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that worries me about Europe in general is their population decline. I mean, I don't think a lot of people know that there's going to be a lot less people in Europe over the next, 50, 100 years. And even China is going to experience that with their one-child policy. So, I mean, that's the only thing that scares me about investing in Europe, which is why I'm glad VT, also has China, India, countries that are going to have a lot of people for a long time.
You bring up a really good point about China, and I've talked about this before. You have a big problem with demographics. They're gonna get old a lot quicker than other people. That's why when people are talking about the threat of China owning the world, I'm like, yes, they're gonna get stronger, but the problem is that one-child policy was really short-sighted.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how that's a hard thing to project. It's like, okay, if each couple has one kid, that basically halves your population.
You know why? Because communists are morons.
No way, Jay. Come on. One cool thing about the U.S. is that I don't think we're going to have a population decline because we're just going to keep bringing in immigrants. So, I mean, in the long run, the U.S. is still a good place to invest in. It's just right now it's pretty expensive, but you do have to consider demographics. I mean, look at Japan. I mean, Japan has just farted. It's not doing too well, and they have horrible demographics.
Yeah. And so, I mean, really, in all honesty, I'm going to run counter to people. If I really had to bet on one economy in the Southeast, it would be India's. Yeah. They don't have the demographic crisis.
The main problem with India is they have a lot of socialism issues. Like, I think if they went full capitalist, I think they would just explode. But there's so much socialism, or at least in the past, that's why India is not the best. It could be.
I don't think it's the best. I think one of the reasons why, this is just something I thought about. I think one of the reasons why we are so innovative in America and why Americans are generally a lot of times the best entrepreneurs is this reason. One, we have strong intellectual property rights. Two, I think it's the First Amendment. Because when you have freedom of speech, you're allowing more creativity into society. Like Canada's new hate speech law is just going to be stifling for innovation for this reason. What's hate speech? Well, if a guy called you a racial epithet, I go, if an old black guy called me a cracker, I would laugh. I'd be like, I don't care about any of that. If he didn't like me because I'm white, I would just look at him and be like, oh, I'm sorry, bro. I'll just stay away from you. So, I mean, these laws that Europe has introduced, and this is a big problem with China. If you don't toe the line and you can't take a contrarian opinion, it destroys innovation.
Yeah, I mean, that's why a lot of people are so bullish on the United States. I mean, there are like legitimate arguments for, having mostly US, because we're still, at least at this point, relatively free compared to the rest of the world. It's just, I always wonder in the future, is that going to change? Because we do have a massive debt, which I think is one major problem.
Yeah, but the difference between every other country in the world and the United States is this one. In 2030, you'll own nothing and be happy. Yeah, but I own a gun. So in 2030, I'm still going to own my house, or I'm just not going to be here because I'm not going on the trains, moron.
Yeah, wasn't that like a marketing thing, or where did that come from?
The International Monetary Fund with that James Bond villain, Charles Strauss or whatever. He looks like a James. He looks like he should be, when he's speaking, holding a white cat, petting it, talking about how, we'll own everything. And yeah, that's communism, dude.
It's like, you're going to take my stocks away? That's like the one thing that would entice me to start a guerrilla movement if you try to take my stocks.
I go in my Vanguard account and my TSP and it's gone. Like,
poof.
You didn't toe the party line, Nagi. So we took your stocks and be like, and we're taking your house and be like, okay, I'll be in the mountains of West Virginia.
I mean, there's not many things that would make me go to war, but you touch my stocks, ladies and gentlemen, there's going to be a problem.
If you took my sea turtle, I might go John Wick.
If you had to choose between your sea turtle, Grogu, or stocks, who would you keep?
Stocks.
You would sell out your sea turtle?
Mm-hmm.
Come on, bro.
But I'm just saying, that's why I have, confidence in America, entrepreneurial spirit, and we can keep innovating, but also other countries too. You need the exposure.
Yeah. I mean, if the whole world was capitalistic, God, we'd be so freaking wealthy. Woo! Then VT would really be a rocket, but
I'll give you guys one. Mercado Libre. It's a South American company. Exploded over the last couple of years. If you're not looking outside the United States, you would have never known about it. Fortunately, Chris, you and I both own that stock now.
Yeah, but it's so beautiful when you own everything.
Yeah, it's I don't know, man. People can do what they want, but there's a lot of people that are going to get lessons in the market, and it seems like we have to repeat this because everybody forgets it.
Yeah, it happens like every generation. It's like, oh, times have changed, and you can just make a fortune buying these hype stocks, and the past is stupid, value investing stupid, and they're proven wrong every freaking time. Every time. And that's somebody commented on one of my videos. They're like, well, I think in the future everybody's just going to gamble with crypto and meme stocks, and all the other stocks and investment vehicles aren't going to make any money. It's like, are you freaking serious? You think a bunch of people around the world are going to dump all of their money into cryptocurrency and meme stocks and nothing else? Like, come on, it's a freaking casino.
Well, we point this out all the time. Okay. Crypto is the future. All right. Which one? Give me a bull thesis on why that involves actual fundamentals and numbers, and doesn't involve because Elon Musk said and blockchain.
You know what? I have a prediction. I think central bank cryptos will be the future. That's what I think.
But again, I ask the question, how is the US dollar not a crypto? It's
I mean, I'm not an expert in crypto technology. I think it's just like you don't have to go through the traditional banking system. You can just like, if I want to pay somebody in China, it's like, oh, here's my Bitcoin, and that's it.
Well,
Whereas you have to go through more hassle to do that.
You're not going to be paying people for Bitcoin in China because China's going to ultimately ban it.
Well, yeah, that's true. But like, I guess that's the selling point, which is cool. I mean, I don't get the technology, but I think the governments are just waiting for the technology to really develop. Then they're just going to snatch it up, apply it to their own cryptocurrencies, and then ban all the rest.
Yep. And I mean, this is how it's going to go in America. Drug dealers and human traffickers are using cryptocurrency. That's the exact playbook that it's going to go by. Child molesters are paying each other on the dark web in cryptocurrencies. We need to get this under control of the government, and then all your arguments for it are out the window. And this is like
there's some legitimacy to that, even if it's like a kind of like almost a made up thing. There's a lot of legitimacy. Like there was a pipeline that was hacked, and they were ransomed with cryptocurrency. It's like, and I knew it. I was like, I bet you the ransom was paid in cryptocurrency, in Bitcoin, and it was. I was like, okay, there you go. It's freaking crime coin.
Yeah. So the government is slow to react, then it overreacts.
Yeah.
Your crypto, and then what'll happen is once they come for Ethereum and Bitcoin, I think the rest of them will just go bye-bye.
Yeah. Well, one can only hope, but you got to be patient and just stay away from all the, fervor and lunacy that's going on in the markets, and just ignore your friends that are claim they're making all this money from Bitcoin or whatever when they're probably not.
No, I'm sure there's people out there getting rich, but they're probably just buying other Bitcoins or whatever, and they're going to lose it. Like, it's going to be so funny to me to see the Dogecoin millionaire lose everything because he decided to diamond hand.
You can't say that, Jay, or his fans are just going to flock to your channel. So and talk trash. The funny thing is, so like when I did the video today, I went on his website. He charges stuff in US dollars to sell his products. It's like,
I saw that.
Are you serious?
I saw that. And that's what I said about him in my video. I think this guy is going to be fine because I think his social media presence is going to pay the bills. But he's going to lose that money if he doesn't take it out now. What's Doge at? Like 24 cents?
Yeah, something like that. I don't think he's going to – I think he's going to lose all his money because he has that impulsive gambling, streak to him. And people like that, like they get lucky every once in a while, but they can't resist. And they go back to the casino and eventually they make a mistake, and that's it, boyo.
It's also going to be hilarious for me to watch Final Stand's videos when Doge is just crashing into the ground and him having a meltdown on air.
It was the hedge funds, bro. The Fed screwed us.
These goddamn short sellers.
But still, that strongman guy's stupid. Don't buy VT. He'll find a new cryptocurrency to talk about. It's amazing to me. 6 months on YouTube, 244,000 subscribers. Like, I'm really tempted just to make like a spoof channel and just see where it goes.
You should.
I mean, because I got time. I'm on leave. I mean, it's like, besides taking care of the kid, but
dude,
I got plenty of time.
Dude, but the best part is like I said, do it with a mask on. Just create a character and do it like that and see if it explodes.
Yeah, or I mean, I could, because like YouTube is very segmented. Like you might not know other people exist and they have millions of subscribers. So what I think, I don't even have to put a mask on. It's like, oh, I'm a crypto man, personal finance, or crypto investing, and then I could just shill all these stupid investments and then see what happens.
But the problem with that becomes, what if you talk somebody into putting their life savings in it? Even though, unless you're letting them know that this is a joke. And that's what I tried to do when I was making fun of these guys with the YOLO videos. I was trying to make it so absurd that people understood. But the reason I stopped doing it is because there are people so stupid that they think that I'm serious.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. Because like I made that.
So I stopped Because
Yeah.
that if you wonder why you haven't seen that, it was because I had people commenting on how they agree with me. And I'm like, okay, I'm like, I could talk one of these stupid people into buying one of these stocks, even though I'm fucking around. And I'm trying to make it abundantly clear by saying, I'm putting 110% of this in my portfolio, followed by this and 120%. And people didn't get it. And
Like
I was
90% Bitcoin, 80% gold, 50%
yeah,
Tesla. Oh, yeah. The math isn't adding up, but I mean, can you explain how you did that? And you can make up some stupid excuse or some stupid explanation. They believe you.
yeah. And that, so, I mean, that's why if anybody's wondering that if you are an actual fan and you go to my channel, if you wonder why I stopped making those videos, it was really for comments that were agreeing with me.
Yeah, I was scared. I was because I made like the Dogecoin spoof, and I was like, people were like taking it seriously, and like you have a really good point. I was like, oh crap, these people are gonna do it and use my fake tool that I made, lose their money, and then freaking sue me. So I put spoof video in massive caps on the video title to hopefully show people it's a joke. Maybe I should just delete videos.
And there's one person out there that watches it, and even though it says spoof, there's a reason why they have to put not edible on Tide packets.
Yeah. People are that dumb, man. It's like, it's really like the more I'm on YouTube, the more I cannot believe how stupid the average person is. It boggles my mind.
And okay, you want to get even scarier than that? It goes to one of my favorite George Carlin bits where he said, think about how stupid the average person is. Now think 50% of people are dumber than that.
Yeah, that's like all the crypto investors. I mean, and what really annoys me is YouTube doesn't do anything about it. It's like they only care about the revenue. So if somebody's promoting trash that is going to ruin people's lives, YouTube doesn't care, even though I'm sure Google has a bunch of advertising about how they're so amazing and progressive. And then they allow these clowns to come on here and just pump the most ridiculous crap.
Yeah, the whole woke movement with corporations, I was like, you guys can spare me that. Like Nike coming out, like all your clothes are made by slaves, Nike. Step down off that high horse.
Yeah, I mean, that propaganda is to appeal to stupid people. It's like, if you know how the world works, it's like, okay, wow, whatever, nice advertisement, but
They're coming out and supporting that one transgendered woman who competed as a man in 2013. And like I think I might have said this before, I went and looked up some of the female world records, and me as a physically unexceptional male murdered the 98 kilogram women's power lifters. So that's 212 pounds. And at 175 pounds, I ridiculously blew them out of the water. Like I think the top bench press at that weight class was like right around a little over like 200 pounds. And I'm like, cool. When I like in my most prime, 185 pounds, repping 225 for sets of 12. And I'm like,
yeah,
so
men
how
are
are we
way
not?
stronger upper bodies. Like it's like even the Army PT test back in the day, like, I could bang out 70, 80 push-ups, straight, and the women would have they would do like 25, 30, and that would be it.
Yeah. And so, I mean, this is the height of ridiculousness. Okay, you're supporting this nonsense. I don't have a problem. Have a transgender league. Just create that. But it's like when I see you sitting there like, oh, we support women. You support women by allowing a person that was exposed to testosterone for their entire life to compete against people that were never exposed to testosterone.
Yeah, like I literally just stopped watching the news because like everything is so ridiculous now. It's like, whatever, I'm just going to read business articles and buy my VT and do live streams. I don't even care. It's like, let people focus on that crap instead of focusing on, improving their lives and improving their finances.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I don't care about any of the nonsense. Like if you look at the nonsense at the border, I'm like, I'm done. I can't do anything. I can only vote. And then if people want to vote morons in who want to placate 1% of the population that are perpetually offended and even most of them are doing it because they're powerless. They want to feel like they're powerful. Then, you know what? I'm just going to vote the way I vote. Low taxation, pro Second Amendment. Other than that, I just don't care.
Yeah, and thankfully the United States hasn't gone too crazy with the tax system, because I think what will really crush the United States is if we start really raising taxes on everybody. But right now, I mean, our tax system still, I mean, it's complicated, but relative to the most of the rest of the world, our taxes aren't crazy high.
When you're figuring out, when you get mad that Jeff Bezos paid no taxes, just understand this is what I'm thinking. Good. Now figure out how Jeff Bezos pays no taxes and do that.
Yeah, I mean,
just figure out the game.
It's so dumb. People get all mad about like how billionaires have so much money. It's like, well, how are you going to get their money? You're going to make them sell their stocks, and then they're just going to hand the stocks to somebody else. Like, it'll just kind of spread the stocks between different rich people. Like, it's such a weird thing. And then, it's like the reason Jeff Bezos is wealthy is he owns stock in Amazon, and Amazon provides massive value to everybody because they freaking ship stuff to your house in a day. I mean, that's why he's wealthy. But him being wealthy doesn't hurt you at all. My life is not any worse because any freaking billionaire is super wealthy. Makes no difference.
And I mean, here's my thing. If I ever became the richest man in the world, I would unrichest man in the world myself, because I'd be like, I don't need this. But then why would I want to give that to the government? Why wouldn't I want to give it to where I want to give it?
Yeah, I mean, if I was super rich, I'd probably create like a trust with like stuff that I liked, and then just put like specific things in the trust. Like, you're going to pay a certain amount of distributions to support this and preserve the principle forever. Something like that.
Well, I donate $100 a year to Fight for the Forgotten, and they dig wells. They dig water wells for the pygmies in the Congo, and it was just a guy does that. He's a UFC fighter, and I was like, yeah, pygmies need water. I give him some money, but I don't see how the government stepping in to take that money from me by force and then do whatever. Oh yeah, we're going to give it to the pygmies. Nah, we're really going to buy a missile and shoot it at a guy in Yemen.
I mean, the biggest proof the government's stupid is Social Security, in my opinion, because they're literally taking 12.4% of your income. 12.4% of your income when you factor in the employer match. And they invest it in treasuries, and then they pay out a crappy pension to you when you're, in your 60s. It's like, come on, let me keep the 12%, and I could probably buy like 1,000 shares of VT over my lifetime and be infinitely more prepared for retirement.
And I would even do it a little bit different. And this is a little bit authoritarian, and I know I'm like pro freedom. I'll be like, sorry, this is what we're going to do. We're going to take that 12.4%. We're going to buy the entire world. Then whatever your money is, it pays you a pension.
Yeah, and your pension would be much, much bigger, because like they literally park your money in treasuries.
If you did it from the time you were 16, you start working, and you just worked, you would be a multi-millionaire when you went to retire at 67. And there would be no worries about Social Security remaining solvent.
Yeah, I mean, of course, they're not going to change it. They're just going to keep jacking up freaking taxes slowly but surely. I mean, you look at the change of how Social Security taxes have gone up. They've just gone up and up and up. And they hurt people like us, middle-class people, the worst, because they take a huge chunk of our income that we could be investing in the total world, and they put it in treasuries.
They hurt poor people more than they hurt us as middle-class dudes. The economic pain goes up the further you go down the ladder. It's that person that works that job where they make $15 an hour. And I mean, that's substantial to them. They're taking that money out. Because I mean, as you increase your wealth, the effect that has on you. If I make $1 million a year and 12% of it's coming out, I'm like, all right, that sucks. But when you're a low wage earner, that's huge.
Yeah, and like it'll prevent you from saving anything because that tax rate's so high, and you're so you have such a low income, and then you're stuck depending on Social Security because you couldn't make enough to invest in anything else. Which, whatever, I'm not in charge of the country. Maybe me, Kevin, will become president of the United States and change all that.
Dude, the whole time I was listening to his homeless plan, I was like, here's how I know you are a raging moron. You think that you're just going to come up with a plan in 5 minutes that solves a really difficult situation.
Yeah, he's scared of judgment.
Yeah, an intelligent person, if you ask them, how do we solve the homeless problem? They're like, well, this is a complicated issue. One of the things you're going to have to do is you're going to need to change the building codes to allow more buildings to be created. There's no one simple answer. And then this is what you have to accept. There's certain people that are homeless because they like being homeless. I know it's not the vast majority of them, but there are people that do not want to be a part of the system. So that demands the tougher question of what do you do with those people? Is universal basic income a solution to get them to stop stealing? What do you do with people with substance abuse problems?
There's no easy answers. I mean, but me, Kevin, is just going to solve them all because he's a famous YouTuber and he's rich, which means he must know how to invest and solve problems. All right, let's get through some comments.
Yeah, let's do questions and get out of here.
Yeah, we'll get through. Pim Tool. Me, Kevin's face and thumbnails look like he can't get an erection. Tim Pool is amazing. Yeah, I mean he's a little like
hyperbolic.
Yeah, everyone I know that worked for Amazon no longer works there. Yeah. I knew a guy that was like a manager. He worked crazy hours.
Yeah, they try to push you out after about 3 years because Jeff Bezos thinks that people become lazy.
He's probably right, or they get worked to death. No, the person said that most people don't know what AAT stands for. Ticker is Antero Resources Terrible Stock. Hey, if you guys have any stocks you want me to look at, email them to me because I'm not going to remember what you're sending to me.
I'm going to write that down, or I'll just take a picture.
Resources.
Maybe that's what I'll do a video on tonight.
Yeah, Strongman's going to lay his butt in the couch after this. Graham's a good guy. Yes, he is. If you want to watch any YouTuber besides us, of course, watch him. Title says to trash clown financial YouTubers. Can you trash clown me, Kevin? Well, there's more clowns than just me, Kevin. I mean, like I can't talk about him forever, but I'm sure he'll come up with more stupid things than I can on him. Trash clown meet Kevin, please. This is a good point. Buy Meet Kevin's course $700 or buy Christopher Bell's CPA's book for $3. No, guy, I'm just ripping you guys off. There's actually a catch. It's actually the first payment's $3, and then it's $10,000 every month after that if you buy my book. United States make $20 a year. I don't think I would make much of a dent, to be honest.
I'm going to tell you this, why I disagree with that. There's a lot of programs that the United States does that I never agreed to. You know what I mean? So you're forcing me to pay for something that I don't agree to. Like in an ideal, my point on this is, in an ideal society, we would just say, you got to pay a percentage of your income to enjoy this thing that is the United States or Germany or the UK, whatever country, France. When they ask me, they're like, we need 15% of your income. Like, okay, well, let me choose what I get to pay for. I got money for infrastructure. I got money for the military. What I don't have money for is for you to send $10 million to Pakistan for gender studies. What I don't have money for is this just nonsense that you want to throw out. We need a 9/11 commission on January 6th. Why? Because a bunch of old people walked in and looked around and were like, oh, this is where Nancy Pelosi sits and farts into this chair.
Imagine if you sniffed her chair, what it would smell like.
Oh, probably smells like Vaseline, Ben Gay, and death.
We do. It's called taxes. National debt is $90,000 per citizen, so $100 a year. 900 years. Yeah, it's a pretty good time frame.
I'll agree to that because I'll never pay it off.
Making a dent with 2.6 person per, it would take. Okay, yeah, they're just talking about the debt there. If the CEO of the charity drives a better car than me, I won't donate. I'm actually going to make a video about charities. Somebody emailed me and wanted me to talk about them. So I'm going to look at charitable financial statements. I have to brush up on it, though.
But, bro, on that last comment, if look into Justin Wren, he's a UFC fighter. He goes to the Congo. And the only reason he would drive a better car than you is because he was a UFC fighter and he has money.
I mean, honestly, I think most people drive better cars than me, so that would disqualify me from investing.
Dude, I'm balling in this little Mazda CX-30 because I walked in there to get a lease because all the cars are so expensive. I go, give me your cheapest lease. He goes, will you drive this? I go, is it your cheapest lease? He goes, yes. I go, then I will drive that.
But come on, bro, what about this one? Doesn't his homeless plan involve the National Guard? What's he going to do, like murder all the homeless people?
That's my solution to the homeless problem is a hunting
Just
season.
kill them all.
We get permits and we do it exactly like we do with big game. Like I go down, I register, I get my tags, and I go to the homeless camp with my AR. Oh, dude, that's a nice juicy homeless guy. He looks to be about 60. We need to call him from the herd.
Homeless hunting tags. Clickbait Kevin, prison pickup line. Is that prison license plate in your pocket, or are you just glad to see it? Oh, God. I can't believe Cal College produces so many financial advisors. Don't even get me started on financial advisors. Maybe the next live stream I'll jump on them.
Dude, that should be the subject of the next one.
Yeah, we need to talk about financial advisors. I can talk for hours about those clowns.
You told me how dirty the industry was. I didn't know.
Oh, they're nasty. They are nasty boys. I'll actually share my screen and show you guys like the company I used to work for. I like to know how Clickbait Kevin can both lower taxes and solve homelessness. Like I said, he can raise revenue by selling hunting permits and then just get rid of them.
Listen, Kevin took hours to think up a ridiculous plan about how to solve the homeless crisis. I figured it out in like 3 minutes. Vote me for governor of California. I'll be out there like holding up like, oh, we got this. This is a big one, man. He's been running around here stealing a bunch from getting them closed. I'll be in my Hunter orange.
All right, last comment. Kevin made a video how much money he made from YouTube recently, and it showed a decline in his views and revenue in the past few months. Good. Yeah. Hope it goes to 0.
Dude, I joke a lot. I joke about going down to the truck stop a lot. But I sincerely hope when Kevin is in his 60s, he's sitting there asking a trucker about his hygiene. Like, Chad, could you at least wash it before? And this is like what I see getting video recorded is me, Kevin, go, come on, Chad. I mean, you're not even practicing basic hygiene here. Like, we have this talk, and the guy's like, I'll throw in an extra 50. And Kevin's like, squirting it with cologne. And then.
Jesus. All right, this is the last comment, ladies and gentlemen. The views revenue are down because the stocks that he pumped are basically down or flat. Yeah. That's the nature of the beast. I mean, VT might go down, but you better keep watching the ads on my channel, okay?
But that's what we tell you. We tell you, expect that at some point you're going to see a correction by 50%. I don't think he says anything other than this stock is going to go to the moon.
I mean, that's how you get the views. Like I said, maybe I should make an alternate channel and just hopefully not get sued.
I'm just telling you, man. It's just
you're right. You're right.
How bad are you gonna feel if you get this comment? Hey, a-hole, I lost $100,000 because of you, and you're like, dude, it says spoof video in there.
Yeah, it's a good point. I'm a chicken crap. I don't want to get sued or get in trouble or screw somebody over, you know.
But yeah, and that's the thing. That's why, it's going to take us a while to build our channel because we're not willing to take chances with other people's money.
Or you can jump on stupid YouTubers and eventually,
This is what I tell everybody. This is what I tell everybody at work. Buy the whole world, and they're like, I'm more conservative with your money than I am with my money. My money is my money to lose. If I was investing for you, it would just be in the total world. And I would say, don't call me when this drops by 50%. It will recover.
Unless the world ends, and then it'll go to zero. But yeah, I mean, that's what I have my wife in 100% VT. Just boop, easy.
If the world ends, you don't have to worry about that anyways, because I'm going to be at whoever's house robbing you of your food. Because I invested in lead.
Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, subscribe to our channels, and y'all have a wonderful night. Goodbye, Jay.
All right, brother. See ya.
See ya. I do VTI. Good. All right, guys. Bye.
Bye.